Welcome back to another episode on the J.A.T side. I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, and today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. It's a little bit later tonight for this episode, but I did announce on the J.A.T side Instagram that there would be a new episode coming out today. So I'm going to deliver on that promise for you guys. So I'm pushing through to get this later episode out tonight. I just have a couple of announcements before I get straight into the main topic of tonight's episode. Number one, from my last episode, which was about 2 weeks ago. Shout out to Toe Dance on YouTube for watching all the way through that episode. If you haven't seen the last episode, either go watch it now or go watch it right after you get done watching this episode. But it was about the Atlanta Hawks. So if you're into basketball, if you're into sports, it's definitely going to be a great episode for you. So once again, shout out Toe Dance on YouTube for listening all the way to the end of that episode and commenting the secret code word that you only would know if you listened to the whole episode. And my second announcement is going to be about this new page I started on Instagram about 2 months ago, a little bit over 2 months ago. I started a Bible verse page on Instagram. So if you're a person of faith, specifically if you're a Christian, I think you'll love that Bible verse page on IG. I'm gonna link the not gonna link. I'm gonna put the account handle in the description of this episode. So for those of you who want to go follow that page, you can go follow it. But it's Bible verses 4, the number 4, and then 2 U's. So once again, I'll link that, and it'll also be in the captions as you're listening to this episode. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get straight into the main topic. And if you read the title, you already know this episode is going to be centered around the 2025-2026 school year that has begun for most. For me personally, it has not begun yet. But I know for majority of my listeners, you guys are already back in school, going back to school. So I wanted to create this episode for you guys just to give you guys some advice and just something that you can use to as some inspiration for this school year, which has just began. So I have a few tips for you guys, and then I'm just gonna slightly go into detail on each of these 3 tips that I made, and then that'll be it. So I don't want to keep you guys long, obviously. I know it's late, but I do have some good information for you guys. So the first tip that I have for my tips for the 2025-2026 school year, the first tip I have is embrace the good days and the bad ones. And really, at the end of the day, everyone has days where school is challenging and when it's hard to want to even come to school. And I've been there where there's been days where I haven't felt like getting up, going to school. But I think if we embrace every day, we just allow ourselves to be put in a position where we can have better experiences. It's kind of easy to enjoy the good days. You feel like everything is going well. Whether it's you got an A on a test or, you woke up and you were able to kind of maybe you just felt better that day, or maybe you decided that you were going to, get something or get your favorite food before school, and you just felt like it was a great start to the day. But then there's also those days where you maybe didn't do so well on a test that you thought you were going to do well on, or whether you have a lot of tests or a lot of quizzes and you feel a lot of stress and anxiety. I think the biggest thing sometimes about school, which kind of leads me into my next point, but I think the biggest thing about school is like the mentality that you have about it is going to determine, um, honestly, the enjoyability that you do have. Because I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I hate school," or you know, "I just don't like school." But at the end of the day, it's something that you have to do regardless. So if you have a good attitude about it and you carry yourself in a certain way, then you're gonna make your life and just school's experience 10 times better. And like I said, that does lead me into my next point, which is school is what you make it. So the attitude that you bring can change your experience for the better or the worse. More specifically, uh, just having a positive outlook on everything that you go through, even when it gets hard. Um, it's easy to say it, and I know it's easy to listen to it, but uh, having a good attitude is not something that has to be. You don't have to kind of like you don't have to study for having a good attitude. You don't have to do any preparation to have a good attitude. All you have to do is change the way that you think about uh, school and things of school. Um, you're gonna have tests. You're gonna have quizzes. That's how ultimately school measures how you learn and how well you obtain the information that you were being taught. So, and me as a student myself, obviously, um, going into my senior year, uh, I've had to change my attitude at times when I felt myself get to a place where I became negative or where I had a certain uh, mentality and thought process towards school. I had to change the way that I was thinking so that I can end up changing my results. Because when you do, when you do bad on a test or you didn't do as good as you thought you were going to do, it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to, get into like a negative mindset and negative thinking. But if you find a way, if you can have mental toughness and find a way to push through those days where it's like, it just feels like, everything's kind of going against you or going the wrong way. You find a way to push through those days, the days that everything goes your way and everything seems to be going right. Those days are going to feel so much better because you pushed through the days where you didn't feel as good. And my final tip for this upcoming school year is to have clear priorities and goals. With school, you got your schoolwork, you have, you know, a lot of other things going on. I know a lot of people have started working now. So people, you got your job, you got school, you got extracurricular activities, whether you're in clubs or whether you're in, sports. It's a lot. It can be a lot to balance, your, social life and your school life. And when you have these clear priorities and goals, it allows everything to kind of seem like it falls into place because you've already set up, your priorities, you've already set up your goals. So you kind of base what you do around that. And you don't have to kind of stress yourself out trying to worry about trying to do every single thing because when you have priorities and goals, you know you can't do every single thing. And you're able to kind of set boundaries and set limits to what you know you can do and what you ultimately know you can't do. And just an example for this last tip, like let's say you're a student athlete, your top priority should be school first because student comes before athlete and then your sports. And that obviously would be after, if you're a faith led person, obviously your faith and God would come first, but then it would be school and then obviously your sport. And maybe for some people, it actually goes faith, family, then their school, and then their sport. For me, I know that's how it is, but I know it's different for some people. It's different for everybody, actually. I know nobody thinks the exact same way. So, however you go about it, just make sure you have those priorities and goals because in the long run, they're going to make your life a lot easier. And like I said, honestly, this is episodes about school, so it's going to make your school experience a lot better. So, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you made it all the way to the end of this episode, I'm going to give another code word out to comment for tonight. So if you made it to the end of this episode, number one, I want you to leave me some feedback. Let me know what I could have done better or what I did well. In your opinion, nothing will be taken personally because I always appreciate you guys' feedback. But the code word for tonight's episode is going to be, see, I did South America last time, so I'm gonna do Europe. Comment in Europe if you made it to the end of tonight's episode. But until next time, I'm your host, Jalen Austin Taylor, and I'm out.